NAT. At this point, I'm not going to configure any NAT for this network. So this is not an interface that is participating in my NAT. Well, after you found out that what interfaces participate in NAT, you have to find out which one is inside NAT and which one is outside. Which one is inside your LAN, which one is on the net. If you look at this router, this interface, serial interface, this goes to the internet. So it goes to the outside network. So this will be the interface to the outside of your network. So this one is in NAT, this one is an interface for the outside part of NAT. This interface here goes to the local network. So this interface is the inside interface. Well, when I go to perimeter router, first I go to global. You have to configure NAT and global configuration, but first I'm gonna configure the interfaces that participate in NAT. So we go to global configurations. The first interface that participates in NAT is fast Ethernet 0/0. If you see on the screen, you can see that perimeter router fast Ethernet 0/1 is going to the server. You see that? Just this tip that comes out. You see that perimeter router fast Ethernet 0/1. That is the inside NAT. And here you see perimeter routers serial 0/0 goes to ISP serial /0, 0/0. So it was fast Ethernet 0/1. So here I go to interface fast Ethernet 0/1 and I type IP NAT inside. That's it. So I'm telling that this interface participates in NAT and this is the inside interface. Next, exit, we go to interface serial 0/0 and we type IP NAT outside. Done. Here we are telling to the router that this interface, meaning serial 0/0, participates in outside NAT. Then I'm going to configure a static NAT. So I go to global configurations and I type IP NAT question mark. What do you want to configure here? You want to configure IP NAT and you want to translate inside addresses to something, another address, something else that you have here. So I type IP NAT inside. Then you want to translate source addresses, correct? Source. And then what type of NAT you want to use? You want to use static NAT. Static. So I'm telling I'm going to use IP NAT for inside addresses and I'm going to change source addresses according to the static NAT to question mark. Inside local IP. Sorry, I'm not going to change to. I just moved ahead of myself. IPNet inside source addresses according to the static. Now, what is that source address that I want to translate? Here, the address of the server is 192.168.2.0. Now, IPNet inside source static. The address will be 192.168.2.1. No, 2.2 is the address of the server. This is the network address, and 2.1 is assigned to this interface of the router. So 2.2 is the server's address. 2.2 question mark. You want to translate it to what address? Here is inside global IP address. So what address you want to use? For this purpose, you need to have one public IP address, something that you already bought it. So, for example, I say I want to translate it to, let's say here, I don't know, 120.168.1. 10.10.1. Uh, just address. I just brought it on top of my head. I don't know, just create it now. Then after that, question mark. Uh, Here we're not gonna add anything else. We're done. So source static. I'm gonna uh, translate this address to this address. So we're not gonna go through all this stuff here. We're just going to press enter. So I press enter. So I created static NAT. So now if I want to ping from this server to the outside, still I'm not able because there is a problem with this address. I have to add this address to my routing table so that when the packet goes out all the way to this computer, let's say this server or whatever on the net, and when it wants to send it back, this router here, this router here has no idea about the address, meaning this one that I just assigned. So for that one, I have to bring in a routing protocol as well, add it to the routing table. And one thing more, since this address comes from the outside, meaning I want to provide access to the server from outside network, you can configure NAT to translate outside network, outside addresses to the address of this server. But for our purpose, it will be fine. I just wanted to show you how IPNet static NAT is configured. So that's how you configure static NAT. Very easy. IPNet inside, source, static, and this is the source address. You want to translate it to this address when it goes out. And when it comes back, when it comes back from outside, it comes to the router, the address will be changed here, and it goes to the server. That is static NAT. Now, I'm going to configure dynamic NAT for this part of our network. So again, the NAT will be configured on the same router. And one thing more that we have to do here, again, we have to find out which interface is the one that participates in our local network and which interface participates in the outside NAT, outside network. So previously we configured outside for this interface. We found out that this interface goes to the outside world, to the internet. So we know that this one is outside interface. Here we have this interface, fast Ethernet. I think this one is 0/0. Fast Ethernet 0/0 goes to this network. So this one, this interface is the one that participates in local network. So I have to go to perimeter router. I'll go to interface. Let me adjust this window. I go to interface fast Ethernet 0/0 global configuration first, then interface fast Ethernet 0/0, and I type IP NAT inside. So remember, here you can have so many local interfaces that participate in NAT. This one participates in NAT, this one participates in NAT. I could have another interface here, and that interface also participates in NAT. So it doesn't matter. Well, now I know which interface goes in, which interface goes out. Next step, you have to create a pool of addresses. Pool of addresses, you have to start in global configurations mode. You type IPNAT question mark. Here you're going to create a pool of addresses. For example, here I'm going to, I would imagine that I've bought 3 addresses. So I'm going to put these 3 addresses to my pool. So I type IPNAT and I'm going to create a pool. Then next you have to assign a name to your pool. For example, I say it's my pool. Just a name, anything that you want. Then question mark. What will be the start IP address of that pool? what is the address, the first address in this pool? For example, I say the first address here is 220.100.10.1. Then question mark. We have three addresses. So what will be the end address? 220.100.10.1 is the first one, 10.2 is the second one, and 10.3 is the third one. So I say 220.100.10.3 is the last address, first address and last address. Then, what is the subnet mask that you have used for your addresses? For example, in this case, I say my subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Of course, we have to have a subnet mask accordingly, but just for example, that would be sufficient. So that is my subnet mask. And then, oh, sorry, I forgot to put net mask. A net mask, and then it will be 255.255.255.0. And then finish. Press enter. So I configured dynamic NAT pool. Next step, you have to configure an access list. In that access list, you will tell that who is allowed to get access to the internet. For example, in your network, you want to, let's go back to our scenario. For example, in this network, I'm gonna say that these people here are allowed to get access to the internet, and the rest are not allowed. So for that purpose, I'll create an access list. And in that access list, I will tell these people are allowed and these people are not allowed to get access to whatever I will explain later. So next step, configure an access list. So in this access list, I'm going to allow everyone. So I say access list 25, and I'm going to create a standard access list. Access list 25, you can say any, oh sorry, permit, or you can say any, or you can say anyone from 192.168.1.0, meaning this network that we have here, the whole network, or you can just simply put any, so that if you have another network and that interface participates in NAT, those people also are allowed to get access to the NAT and internet. So I create an access list 25, permit 192.168.1.0, 0.0.0.0.0. So we permit everyone else here. So I created a pool, I created an access list. Now I have to tell the router, use this pool with that access list, meaning for using NAT, refer to this pool and this access list, and use NAT according to these two pools and access lists that I've created. So I start with IP NAT, then again inside. From inside, we want to translate. We want to translate our source addresses according to the list. What is the list? Either you have a name or a number for that list. In this case, I have 25. And then what is the pool? Pool is my pool. The name that I assigned to the pool here. Where is it? Yes, here. Yeah, here. Half of that is gone inside this dollar. So my pool. And then that's it. So I say use NAT for the inside network to translate the source addresses according to the list access list 25 and this pool that I have here. And then press enter. So in this case, you have created a dynamic NAT.